Welcome to the Republic of Me. My name is Ivana, and this is a channel where I share my creative journey and some parts of my life living on an island in the Mediterranean. Good morning. This video is not going to have any making, so if you're here just for the making, you can look at the past videos. There is a bunch of them on the channel, or you can come and join me on the next one. So as I said, this video is not going to have any making, but I wanted to talk to you. And it's something I wanted to do for a while now on several occasions, but I kind of always chickened out. So here we go. All is well, so don't worry about it. All is well, everything is okay. In fact, today was it was a lovely day. When I woke up, my husband, basically I woke up and coffee was waiting for me. And my husband surprised me. He got me coffee, and he also booked tickets to Barcelona in November for Barcelona Knits. So he booked the tickets, the flight, and not only are we going to Barcelona, which is my favorite city, by the way. I already went, I visited twice already. This is going to be my third time. So not only are we going to Barcelona Knits, but after that he's taking me, we're going to Paris for a few days. So it's been really a lovely, lovely day, and I'm still in shock because this is going to be my first fiber festival, by the way. So yeah, if you're going to be in Barcelona Knits, I'll see you there. But I didn't know that was going to happen, and I already planned to make this video. And I made a bunch of notes 2 nights ago. I kind of like scribbled, and they are really scribbles. I put down like 5 pages of scribbles. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to read them. But I wanted to talk to you about where I am, basically what's going on in my mind, and what I'm going through, what I have been going through, and so on. As I said, all is well, so don't worry, you can continue. Now, the video is going to touch on some, just to tell you straight away, it's going to touch on some heavy topics, but I'll try to do it in relatively calm and in a stoic manner, in a stoic way. So, but it will touch on some heavy topics. And I made notes because I kind of I had in my mind what I want to cover, and when I wrote them down 2 nights ago, it was more like automatic writing, and that helps as it is. I mean, just for me to just put your thoughts on paper, but I did it so fast that I don't know if they're eligible at all. I don't know if I can read them, but I'll try. So it took me a while to kind of decide that I'm going to record this video. And it's not just about this topic, but over the course of a couple of years since I had the channel, there was a few times that I wanted to talk to you kind of heart to heart, really. And most of the times I chickened out for different reasons. But when we record these videos as creators, it's something I didn't understand until I started making them, because I was looking at creators as, you know, somebody who is there to entertain me, really, like when you turn on the TV. But ever since I started making the videos and I have the channel, I've realized how vulnerable we can feel, and we feel exposed, and that's why a lot of people keep it very light, which is completely fine. And I find that through the hard times as well, even though I would mention it occasionally, I was still hiding behind that woolen wall of showing you, you know, here is the skein of yarn that I spun up, or here is what I knit. And those makes, even though you see they're between me and you guys, and even though they're the connection between us, but they're also that wall that kind of protects me from the vulnerability of it all. But I thought, okay, let's do this and see how it goes. I might have some cuts, as I have never had a video like this, when I just talk and I don't have that woolen wall in between me. But I wanted to talk to you, so okay, let me see. Lately, I've been feeling that I don't really want to make these videos. And I had that feeling a few times throughout the past couple of years. And even in the last video, and this one now that I was going to make, when the idea came of like, oh, you need to record the video and I need to start editing, even though I have collected the footage, it was this heavy feeling, like somebody was taking me for a slaughter. It was like, no, I don't want to do it. Like I was being dragged and I just didn't want to do it. And I didn't want to have that feeling, while at the same time I want to continue making the videos. And I think I know why this is happening. Nothing to do with the channel or you guys. It has to do more with what I'm going on, what I'm going through internally, and so on. So the last couple of years, ever since the beginning of this channel, ever since you have met me, those have been probably one of the most challenging times in my life, and I had a few. I started the channel in a very, surprisingly, nothing was COVID related. I mean, I know that the whole world was in mess and a lot of people went through a lot of shit. And I'm sorry if I swear occasionally, but I think this video, if it happens, it's because I'm talking to you the way that I would be talking to a friend. So I know a lot of people, most of the people went through a lot of crap during COVID. And so did I, so did we as a family, but somehow nothing was COVID related. For the past couple of years, just before I started the channel and going on, it was a very difficult time in my life, as I have lost a lot of people in my life. And family, friends, and I mean lost them, that they left this world, they passed away. And somehow everything got together, just one after the other. And we are not a large family, and I'm not talking about the family that I'm married into, I'm talking about my birth family. We are not a large family, but half of them left in the past couple of years. And it was just one after the other, and all of them before their time. And it was just very, as you can imagine, it was just really, really difficult. And also we had a very heavy sickness of a child in the family, a really heavy sickness. and that happened after the episode 2. So I didn't talk a lot about any of that. I mentioned it a few times, but I didn't talk a lot about it. It was just really, really challenging, because it was one slap would come, and before I even had time to recover, before I even had time to kind of like find my footing again, another slap would come, and another one, and that was going on for a couple of years now. So that's why, if you look back at my videos in the beginning, I mean, that's one of the reasons, but my expressions are frozen. I hardly smiled. It was okay. There is a few reasons. Also, I was not comfortable in front of the camera. It took me a long time to get comfortable in front of the camera. And I'm looking at this younger generation, you know, my kids, they take the camera and they're like, "What's up, guys?" You know, and they're just so natural. But it took me a long time to get comfortable in front of the lens. But it was also because what was going on in my life, and I never wanted to put a fake smile on. I always showed up as myself. That was very important to me. And when I started the channel, what was very important to me, and I decided from the get-go, is that I'm going to keep it real. Not necessarily addressing the issues, but always keeping it real. That when my kids down the line see one of my videos, and that they always recognize their mom. That they don't see some middle-aged woman, you know, trying to make it on YouTube. That they see their mom talking maybe about something that they find boring, but their mom nonetheless. So I have never tried to put on a different face than what I was really feeling. So that's one of the reasons, you know, why in the very beginning, and going on, not only just the beginning, but for quite some time, I was very, very serious, and I didn't smile a lot. And one woman, she even wrote to me some months ago when she was watching the old videos, and she wrote to me in the comments that like, you should smile, you're gonna enjoy it more. I was thinking, yeah, I would, but I really didn't feel like smiling at that time. So that was then, and as I was going through all that, as hard as it was, at some point it came an end to it. And sometime beginning of last year, I started feeling better. I started recovering a bit. I started finding myself again. I started finding my footing again. But then what happened is that my older son, he went to the army last summer in July. Let me just check if that's the order that I wanted to talk to you. Yeah. So my son went into the army, and Cyprus has mandatory national service. So he went in July, and it was just a couple of weeks after he turned 18. So even though some years ago, some decades ago, 18 was not that young, but in this day and age, he was a baby. And just a couple of weeks after his 18th birthday, he went in. And I really didn't want him to go. There are ways to get them out, even though it's mandatory, but he chose to go. And now, national service here is not, it's relatively safe. Everything is okay. He's okay, by the way, just so you know, from the start to tell you. It's relatively safe. There is not much danger. They don't really send them anywhere. But because Cyprus is a divided country, in fact, Nicosia is the last divided capital in the world, there is always that kind of underlined danger of something erupting, of something happening And that's why, as national service, they always need to have. That's why it's mandatory. They always need to have soldiers at hand, just in case. Even though nothing happened for years and years since the 70s, but there is always that kind of underlying fear. But in general, it's safe and it's okay. My husband, he was completely fine with, he served the national service, he was completely fine with my son going in. Me, on the other hand, I was not fine with it. And as a lot of you know, I'm Serbian. And that's another topic, because the reason why I say as a lot of you know is because every couple of episodes I try to throw in somewhere along the conversation the fact that I'm Serbian, because what happens is that whenever I say it, I have people leave. And again, this is not something that I spoke about to you directly, but it started off, Mario and I, my husband and I, were joking like episode 11, because that was the first time that I said that I'm Serbian. About 10% of my subscribers left, and that was like, we're joking, that was the mass exodus of episode 11. So ever since then, even though, yeah, I got upset, because I don't know if I should have gotten upset, because that, I don't know how to address this, but throughout my life, because most of the time, most of my life since I was 13, I left Serbia, which was Yugoslavia at that time. I left when I was 13. So most of my grown-up life, I lived in the West. And Serbs were very much villainized in the West. So I was very often not treated nicely. Not in Cyprus. Cyprus was always very nice and welcoming to us. But I have experienced xenophobia multiple times in my life. And xenophobia, see, I'm using big words, and I learned that word from a friend of mine who you actually all probably know. She's here on the YouTube, but I'm not going to mention her name because it was a private conversation. So I have experienced xenophobia quite a few times in my life. So I was kind of used to it, obviously, not condoning it, not liking it. But, you know, people are people, just I went about my business. And but because so much time passed, and when that thing happened at episode 11, it got to me, it really got to me. But I'm also grateful for it, because it also put me on my own internal journey of kind of finishing with that and the way that I was treated throughout my life. It took me on a journey, and I have resolved a lot of issues. So then I made a decision, okay, since this is what's happening, even though when it happened I was like, really, still? But, you know, people are people. As I said, you know how internet is. And then I made a decision that every few episodes I'm going to somehow mention, you know, that I'm Serbian or something. So I give people opportunity to leave if they don't want to be here, because this is a channel, you know, where I share my family, I share my house. I don't want the people that don't want to be here, I don't want them to be here. So, you know, I would do that every couple of episodes, so I give people the chance to leave. But I don't think I did it in the past couple of videos. So that is kind of a long-winded explanation to and connecting to the army. So I didn't want my son to go to the army, because, as I said, I'm Serbian and I come from a war-torn country, which was Yugoslavia at that time. And when I was 12, my father was drafted to the war. He was taken to the war. So army, military, for me, it has a very different, it carries a very different weight than it does for other people, because I drag tails. And when Nicola was going to join the army, when he was going to go and do his national service, all those feelings that I thought that I was done with, you know, from 30-something years ago, that fear, that tremendous fear of when my dad went to the war. I thought I was done, but it started coming back. And it's funny how our mind works, but it started coming back, and started coming back heavy. And I really didn't want him to go, because I thought the buck stops here. I mean, my great-grandfather, he was in the First World War. Both of my grandfathers in the Second World War. My father was taken to the Civil War of Yugoslavia at that time. And I was saying to Mario, to my husband, I was like, no, my sons will not carry guns. I'm done. I am done with that. Even though it has nothing to do with me, but it has a lot to do with me when you're a mother, and I'm telling you my story. So he went in, and it was not easy. And this is what I told you, that very often when we are recording videos, at least me, you know, I'm hiding behind this woolen wall of the things that I show you. But when I watch the episodes back, I know exactly what was going on in my life at that time, based on my expression. I remember, not this summer, the summer before, July, I have released the video, the second part of my travels to UK and Norway. And I have released that video, and as I was recording it, that was just a couple of days after he went into the service. And I could hardly talk. I didn't mention anything about it, I couldn't talk about it, but my voice just would not come out. And nobody realized, but I know it's there. So that fear that I had before he went in, it was so severe, and I know that logically it was irrational, but because of my past and because of the baggage that I carry, it was so real to me and so heavy that for a couple of days before he went in, I remember I was here in the kitchen and everybody was asleep. And I was so scared that at one point that fear started coming from here, choking me, and came to my head that I started losing my vision, I started blacking out. I was that scared of my son going into the army, because the army for me represented war. So what's going on now is that the reason why I said all is well, everything is well, there is nothing wrong. He's finishing the army now. He served 14 months, and I am so proud of him in a way that he did it, because he did have a lot of troubles with bullying and with but that is his story to tell, so I'm not going to go into that. But I'm very proud of him, and he came out a lovely young man. So as far as the army is concerned, as far as the military, at least here, it's something that a lot of young people would definitely find benefit in, especially since I see the transformation in our son, especially this younger generation. I don't want to have a go at the younger generation now, but especially this younger generation, I think they would get a lot of benefit out of this kind of structure and discipline, and not being able to say no. And so he went in from straight from his gaming console and, you know, house slippers, he went into a tank. And I I definitely see a positive change in him, as much as it was difficult, and it was. For him, for me, it was heavy 14 months. But I see a really good positive change in him, and I see him growing up into a really nice young man. So now this is what brings me to how I'm feeling now and what I think is going on. And it's because for years now I wasn't able to relax with all these tests that we have experienced, and for 14 months while he was there, I was in this constant cramp of fear daily that something is not going to erupt, that something that I couldn't relax. So the last 14 months, just as I was getting better from all the losses that we had, family and friends, and I was just starting to relax, and then he went in, and I, put my guard up again. So for 14 months, I was, strong and going on through this. And now as he's finishing, as it's time for me to start relaxing, he's going to UK to study. And that is a good thing. It's a good thing for him. He deserves to start his life, and it's definitely a good thing for him. But just now, as I'm feeling that I now it's time, he's done, he's finished, now I can relax. Because I didn't even think about him leaving while I was going through what we were going through. That was the next thing that I'm going to deal with when it comes. And now it's coming, and I only have a few weeks, from relaxing the fact that he's done before he leaves. And I think that's the thing that messed me up, of that part of thinking that I can relax and I can't. Again, the guard needs to go up. So I'm tough. I know I'm tough. And if you speak to anybody who knows me, they will tell you that I'm tough. That's why I find it very interesting and very nice. I mean, it's like balm to my soul when I read it, when you guys comment, how kind I am and how lovely I am. And even Leslie Friend, when she mentioned me, Leslie Friend from Friend to Knit With podcast, she mentioned me in her a few videos ago in one of her episodes, and she was talking about my channel, and she was saying how kind I am. I think that's what she said. And I was listening to her, and I was thinking, wow, is that how people see me? Because I'm not putting anything on, but is that how people see me? Because really kind, me? Because I'm generally really tough. And even my son, my younger son, the other night, he was talking to me, and he told me, he goes, Mom, you're really strong. And I am. But a lot of people can't often handle my bluntness and toughness in that sense. I remember years ago we went for camping, and sorry, just let me have a sip because I'm talking a lot here. Years ago we went for camping as a family, and my stepsons were there. They're older than my kids, so obviously, yeah. So we went for camping, and there was a beach bar there, but we didn't take any cash with us as grown-ups. We took credit cards, but what we didn't know that the beach bar is not going to accept credit cards. So we didn't have any money, but the kids, my stepsons, they were teenagers at the time, they had some cash with them. So, they used the cash, and we didn't really buy anything. But at one point I told them, hey, can you go and get me an ice cream? And they did, no questions asked, and they brought me the ice cream. And Mario, their dad, he was coming forward, and he said to them, he goes, hey, how come you got her an ice cream and you didn't want to get me an ice cream? And I remember the older one saying, yeah, but she's scary. So A lot of people are, as much as I appreciate your comments, how kind I am and all this, but a lot of people tend to be scared of me for some reason, and I think it's the bluntness. But that is to kind of connect with this. I am strong. I know I am. And while things are going on, while shit is hitting the fan, I keep it together. I do. But then when I'm supposed to relax and I put my guard down and I cannot relax, this is kind of what gets to me. And it did get to me for a few times like that in the past couple of years. And that's when I kind of break, like the analogy that I have in my head, flippers, the old-time pinballs. We have 3 antique pinballs in the house. So when you shake it a lot, but then it just tilts. It stopped working. It's like everything blocks. Well, I feel that I have tilted right now, especially with making the videos. And I know that I can, let me look at this, and I know that I don't have to make the videos. So, I simply don't have to make them. I don't depend on this channel. This is not where my money comes from. So it's really, you could tell me, well, just don't make them, take some time. And yes, that is an option. But I don't necessarily want to do that because I think I need some structure right now. I think I need some structure, and I want to continue because when stuff was happening before, these videos, even though I was not making them regularly, but they were one constant that I kept on coming back to. Whether I'm feeling good or I'm feeling bad, I kept on coming to them, and it was grounding me in a way, even though it was very difficult at sometimes, it was grounding me in a way, and it was giving me some structure, something to come back to. So I don't want to stop making them. So making this video, as I said, I chickened out a few times because I wanted to make them a few times, and there is another video that is sitting on my head that I need to make, but I don't know how to go about it. I will talk about it another time. But I thought, you know what, I really wanted to talk to you, to tell you what's going on. And I know that some of you are here just for entertainment, and some of you might leave, and that's okay, that's fine. But some of you might stay. So, and I don't want you to be my therapist. I don't expect that from you, and I wouldn't put that burden on you. But I thought you might be able to help. And the joy of making the videos will come back, I know that. But I thought you might be able to help to get me through this hump. And how? I'm thinking that maybe you could ask me questions. If you ask me questions, that way for the next period, while I get through this hump, we can have a conversation. Making will still be here. I will still be making. I will still be showing you the things that I make, because making never leaves from me. And it's not my escape, but it is my refuge very often. So making will not leave, but I think I will find it easier, rather than me only talking to you and showing you things, that maybe you can ask me questions, and then I can be answering those questions and feel like we are having a conversation. So it's not just one-sided, and that I feel the pressure just on me, that somehow you help me get through this. And I think I can do this with your help. I do. Because in the grand scale of things, I mean, this is really not a big channel. But when I imagine all of us, you know, given that not a lot of people leave after this video, when I imagine all of us, there is like more than 5,000 of us. And when I imagine 5,000 people, even though compared to, you know, the whole YouTube, it's not a lot of subscribers, but when I imagine 5,000 people, and if we all went on a holiday together, we would need 10 jumbo jets to go on that holiday. And that's a lot of people. So, nothing, that's that. I thought that, you know, if we engage in the conversation, I'm going to be able to get through this period and this hump, while at the same time continue making the videos. So if you stayed until the end, thank you for your time, thank you for your friendship, and hopefully for your help as well. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.